work to driverless cars. But I think you're a shining example that's not the case, because you're growing. Hi, and welcome to the set here at Taxi Talk. Delighted you've joined us, and I'm with the very glamorous Jodie.
Hello.
There you go. And myself, David Hunter. Now, we've covered the subject of driverless cars in this series of podcasts. How do you see them going?
It's definitely going to be the future, David, isn't it? Let's be honest. And I think everybody knows that. Even the drivers know that it's coming. I do think that there's a lot of opportunity as well for operators as well, you know, to be able to strike up deals with bigger companies that want people to get to their venues. And so, there's a lot of things, a lot of avenues that I think will open from that. So
I almost think driverless cars may be a different category. So you'll have a two-tiered system. You'll have private hire, which is the great service we offer now with driver interaction with human beings. And there'll be certain jobs that can't be replaced, you know. The old lady that needs help in the cab.
The children that need to get to school with a passenger assistant.
The wedding work where you've got to look after the bride. There's in certain geographical areas as well where it's not cost effective to have the network for a driverless car. So in essence, maybe the jobs that we do now as private hire will become more premium because the driverless car will be a cheaper option. So it would still be a good thing for the drivers we've got, because if they're getting the premium work, they're going to get better money for it. What they could do is buy a driverless car, sit at home and just send it out to work.
Oh, happy days. Imagine that.
Anything, all options at the moment on the table, but I wanted to find out how these things actually work, because we know they're going to be launching in the UK very soon. So I'm off to San Francisco now to go and catch a Waymo.
Excellent.
Catch you later. Well, I've arrived in San Francisco, and this episode we're going to be looking at driverless cars, not only from Waymo, there's a few others, and we're going to see how they compete with the local operators and how the local operators are surviving, because here in San Francisco, in a certain part of San Francisco, Waymo are everywhere. Now, they recently had crews as well from General Motors, but due to some accidents, they're temporarily banned at the moment. You've also got Amazon also testing as well at the moment. So, so you've got a mixture here. You've got Lyft, Bolt, your traditional taxi companies that have to pay a medallion, Flywheel, Curb. So we will be speaking to the owners of Flywheel and Curb in the city to find out how they're coping with Waymo. But first, let's see what it's all about. And let's jump into a Waymo. Hi, so we're now going to hail a Waymo from the street, and we're going to go to the Fisherman's Wharf, Pier 39, which is about 1.8 miles that way. So we're going to start off with Waymo, which is Google's self-driving project turned standalone company. Google originally invested in it. So basically they're using Jaguar I-Pace electric SUVs, which you see bristling around the streets here, full of sensors on the roof and the sides. So let's hail a Waymo through their app. Let's see how easy it is. Now, the one thing I've noticed already when I'm comparing costs between Uber, Lyft, and the local company, Waymo is sometimes a little bit more expensive, so you're not actually making a saving with the driverless car. So anyway, let's get into a Waymo for that first experience, and let's see how scary it is or how easy it is. So I'm just going to hell on now. So we got our car, it's a minute away. It's going to be $18. Okay, so it's ordered. Let's see where this car is. I suppose one thing that is good, the rider or the driver doesn't keep cancelling, does it? Right, and I think this is the car. Almost at pickup, here's the car. And it's found the space to park into. And wow, this is amazing. I'm just going to get in, see what happens. Unlock, so you've got a thing on the app to unlock it. And that comes out. Wow. So I've... Hello, Waymo. I'll just put my seatbelt on. So now we get to start the ride, and we just press here. And now...
Hello from Waymo. As we get going, just give us 1 minute to cover a few riding tips. This experience may feel futuristic, but the need to buckle up is the same as always. So keep your seatbelt fastened, please.
Literally no driver
If you're
there.
traveling with little ones or expecting, please see the seatback card for more information. We'll do all the driving, so please don't...
So it's a 12-minute ride, it's saying?
During your ride. We may use interior cameras, check on riders, improve our products, and more. But our microphones are only on when you're connected to rider support. So sing your heart out. We can't hear you.
Excellent.
You can also use the app for passenger screens.
So I'm now in the back of my first ever driverless car ride. And it's making all the right turns, navigating pedestrians and everything. It literally just parked in front of me, and I had to use the app to unlock the car. There's no smelly driver talking away. To be honest, I miss the driver. They normally give you a nice greeting. It's not the same having an algorithm. But and then in front of me, there's a map showing where we're going. As you can see, is navigating around the streets of San Francisco. Yeah, it's quite a relaxing thing. Would I want to go long distance in this? Because San Francisco, apparently, they put extra cameras around to monitor all the traffic to make it easier for Waymo, and they spent a lot of money lobbying the government for that. But this is just incredible. I'm sat alone in a car driving itself. I don't know whether I'm scared or whether I actually feel a bit more relaxed, because obviously the computer and the algorithm is keeping probably a better eye on the traffic than I would or a driver would, and there's no distractions for a driver when it's driverless. They're not fiddling around with the radio or taking phone calls. It's just the computer system. But does GPS glitch? That's the question. Is that where accidents happen? But yeah, it's pretty amazing. So far it's got up to about 40 miles per hour. They are quite nippy. Obviously, you get the acceleration with an electric car, don't you? But yeah, it's a very interesting experience. It's actually quite a smooth ride as well. Yeah. Now, do I see a future where maybe drivers, instead of driving, can buy a car, something like a Model Y Tesla, and just plug it into Elon Musk's robot system? So whilst they're not using the car, it can go out and work. Would he need to be licensed for that? No, I doubt it. Does he have to be a driver? Could it be you and I? Could it be members of the public? Is that a way to stop the streets from being cluttered with cars that aren't being used 90% of the time? certainly think, kids today aren't learning to drive. They're more digitally connected on Instagram and things like that for their social life. So is this the sad utopia that we're 15-minute city that we're heading towards? Do I like it? Well, I've always enjoyed driving the car. It's my independence. But, once these things become cheaper, then you just hop into something like a Waymo. Others are available. Would it be good for a school run? Moving a child with special needs to school? I don't know. You need an escort, don't you? Can it help Mrs. Miggins with her shopping, load it into the back? Would it help somebody with disability? Probably not. What happens if I'm sick in the cab now? Who's going to clean that up? And would the next passenger know about it? Does Waymo know I've just been sick in the back of the car? Is Waymo even listening? It is an amazing experience. But do I trust tech to look after me? What happens if there's an accident ahead? And he makes the assumption, do I kill the kids crossing the crossing, or do I kill the occupant in the car? Which is will it make a decision based on insurance and payouts? It's cheaper to kill the person, i.e. me, sat in the back, than it would be to kill young lives that you have to compensate for. But the main thing is I do feel safe. I suppose it's a bit like when people went from the horse and cart to the motor vehicle initially. People probably didn't feel safe until they tried it. But I'm sitting here with a big smile on my face, and I shouldn't, because I'm in the taxi industry. And obviously later on in this podcast, we'll be talking to some of the local operators as to how they're competing. But at the moment, the price comparison is about the same, or possibly a little bit more, because you're paying for this technology. But there are others coming into the field. Obviously, Elon Musk is trying to apply with his Robo-Taxis for this San Francisco market. He's already operating in Austin, Texas. And the technology, the FSD technology in the Model Y, apparently is almost there. You just can't turn it on in Europe or the UK because of legislation. So that's what he's trying to do, get it legislated. But certainly sat here, as I keep saying, I feel very safe. I wonder how you operate it when you're drunk. A little later on, I'm going to be meeting up with our guest in this podcast, and we'll see how we get on when we've had a few drinks. But as you can see, this is relaxing music playing, and we're just sitting here, or I'm just sitting here, taking in the view. So that's it. We're
here. Please make sure it's clear before exiting.
We're arriving now. So let's get out, unclub my seatbelt. Well, there you go. It's going. Bye-bye, my first Waymo ride. Wonder where it's off to next. Very clever. Very clever. Well, how did that experience feel then? To be honest, I hoped it would be worse than that. It was very smooth from the moment you get in there, and the onboard computer welcomes you, gives you instructions. Clearly, there's an instruction on the infotainment system in the back to press start to go. On all the screens, it's monitoring the journey time and then clear instructions how to get out. It even warned me that there was a bike on the way. So, it was seamless, really. I think, to be honest, these things will work in conjunction with the taxi trade. And it'd be interesting to find out very shortly how the local operators are competing. I think perhaps in the future you will find that these driverless software companies, obviously they need the passengers, so they will link into other people's networks. And obviously with people like iCabby that are owned by Renault, they've got the network and the exchange. So you can probably find that Renault will have a drive work with a software company and plug that in. So I think they will work as a two-tiered system to begin with, because not every town would be suitable. Not every job is suitable. And even here in San Francisco, there's a lot of competition now, because obviously the government here have been kind of helpful in setting up the legislation. So, yeah. So just talking about the competition here in San Francisco and just launched in Las Vegas is Zoox. Hopefully a picture of one will appear now on your screen. So Amazon are coming into the Robo-Taxi space, and unlike Waymo and Cruise, Zoox have designed their own vehicle from scratch. It looks like a little pod, very characterless, symmetrical, no steering wheel at all, no pedals. It just really is a passenger bot. It can even drive both ways without turning, so it can go forward and backwards, and you won't know which side was which. So as you can see from the pic. So that's beginning to test here in San Francisco at the moment, but with no passengers. They're just going up on the streets. I've not seen one yet, but I'm told they're here. But they have just started in Las Vegas, where rides are currently free. So customers are the guinea pigs there in Las Vegas, and obviously it's coming here to San Francisco. Now, with all these futuristic players in the market, like let's see how the legacy firms like Curb and Flywheel are getting on. These apps have been around for years, people with Uber and Lyft, helping passengers hail traditional licensed taxi. They actually pay a medallion. On the way here, I did speak to a driver who felt it unfair that he's having to charge like nearly 20-30% more because he has to cover the cost of his medallion. That cost of the medallion is $250,000, which seems a little. Ride hater can just put their car on the Uber network. So let's see how these cars are competing in direct partnership with some of the national apps from Flywheel. Curb is particularly strong here on the East Coast, and it's been actively modernising yellow cabs, who we'll be seeing shortly. Welcome back to Taxi Talk. Given up. Anyway, we've got a great new competition. All you have to do is like or subscribe, because it really is important to us to get the subscriptions up. So please do subscribe. And if you do, on December the 1st, just before Christmas, we will be giving away 20, 40, 60, 80, 100.
And the most.
200. You're not meant to speak, Steve. It's 200. 300. We're giving away £20, okay? £320. So please like, subscribe, and this money here on this desk, plus this cigarette, will be winging its way to you for Christmas, and a Snickers bar. Wow, so I think I'm on my second or third Waymo ride, and I've just got in one, so I'm showing one. I got young Will here.
Unfortunately, it came with me. So they didn't clean this one up, did they?
Yeah, it's still got the sick in the back. So we've got Will here from Flip. Will,
yes.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah.
I'd shake your hand, but I'm holding the camera. But Waymo, I mean, how's it going? I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Because obviously you're an investor in taxi fleets as well. Yeah. You know the American and the UK market. Is this a threat to Flip's business model?
So I think that for Flip, right, voice interaction is always going to be a major part of anybody's interaction to be able to get what they need. Whether that be customer support. Here, if I click support right now, I will get somebody on the phone, right? Mm-hmm. And that they're going to help me with my issue in this vehicle. Now, if you don't meet people where they want to be met, we see this a lot with like our e-com and retail customers. They will meet their customers no matter the channel: text, web chat, email, phone. They're online, an app. So you need to be able to offer every sort of point of contact to be really succeed. Right now, Waymo is limited to those that are, allowed off the wait lists, the city that they're in, their proficiency to use an app. So we don't really believe that we could contribute towards the demand gen of Waymo at some point.
Yeah, so you're a fleet owner. I mean, this is a fantastic experience, as we've seen earlier in Taxi Talk. How are local fleets such as Yellow Cabs and Flywheel competing?
Yeah, you know what? So right now, I'm limited. This is limited to me being able to get into this vehicle. Again, me being able to book it only by app. So how do you differentiate yourself? You differentiate yourself by the demographic of the people that you're going to, take care of. Somebody may not be able to lift their luggage into the back.
Yeah, or if there's an old lady struggling with her shopping, or
yeah, exactly. Who's there to help them? So I think that this is a supplement to what we currently provide around the world.
Yeah.
But it's not going to fill everything right now,
Yeah,
especially accessibility.
Would it deal with B2B contracts? Would it deal with school runs where you might need a personal assistant?
Exactly. Can you imagine putting your child in this, and what happens if they have an issue? Say there's a bee in here and they get stung.
Thought of the
right?
bee.
Right?
The annoying bee.
Anaphylactic shock because somebody ate peanuts in here prior. Who's going to drive them to the hospital? Yeah. Who's going to administer a epinephrine?
And also as a tourist here in San Francisco, I'm missing the banter from the driver. The knowledge that he has. You pick up things from the driver, and not only that, the driving as well. I mean, the driving here it's fantastic, but it's very much like the book. It feels like the granddad is driving. So he's not weaving in and out of traffic, but.
I've always been surprised as like San Francisco is the hub of where driverless cars kind of took footing. Here, Arizona makes sense. It's these roads as what is it, Milton Keynes roads in Arizona. But when you come to San Francisco, you're all over the place.
Yeah, there's some pretty sharp hills here.
Yeah, exactly. And there's some awful drivers. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to make it in New York. I spent a lot of time in New York. There are huge box trucks that park in the middle of the street, and they just own the street. And so here's a good training ground for vehicles. But yeah, it's a lot of hazards to deal with, and that we've seen them fail, such as Cruise. Cruise was one that was not successful, and after causing a lot of incidents with people.
And it'd be interesting to see how they cope with UK streets. Obviously here, wide roads, very clear markings. Yep. You've been to London, some of those back streets of Whitechapel and so on, and other cities around the UK available. Pothole damage, a lot of bad driving, people cutting you, even worse in Paris, So it'd be interesting because here is very clean. They've got cameras on the streets. Driving is no one's speeding, no one's cutting across you. Yep. Now there is a rumor that there's somebody called Mohammed in Islamabad who's actually driving this for us. Is that the case?
So I was listening to a podcast last week with the CEO of Waymo, and she said, nope. There's nobody that this is. And now from her interview, she specifically said they do not have human intervention built into this. Nobody's remotely driving. But we've all seen the social media of a new AI launching, and it is a bunch of people in a offshore call center that are responding to your queries.
Yeah, so we had Ray on the other week from the offshore call center. Maybe that's a market for you, Ray. Yeah. Gamification with real people's lives here.
Just like flying drones.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing, if you were Putin, this could be hacked by somebody, and it'd be very easy to drive you into the drink. Not drive you to drink, but into the drink. English terminology there for driving you into the river, but it could be obviously hacked, and but as good at your BYD or your Tesla. But interesting times. Well, I think later on we need to get absolutely drunk and see how it copes with us. But
we will see. You want to film it? Yeah. Oh, just make sure Just trying something real quick.
Connecting to rider support. Please wait. Connected to rider support. This call may be recorded for quality assurance.
Hi, this is Anne with Waymo. How can I help?
Oh, hey, just a quick question. We're with the press. Is there any remote control of these vehicles?
What do you mean remote controls?
So do people manually control these remotely?
No, not really.
Not really.
We do have a designated team, but they only push commands or do commands if the car is stopped. But
Okay.
overall or normally, the car moves on its own and decides on its own, and it can decide through the sensors that it has.
Okay. Thank you so much for your help. You have a wonderful day.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, that's it. I think so. Is there anything else I should know?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. First, we're getting now off to visit the CEO. Is it Flywheel?
Yeah, CEO of Flywheel. So Flywheel is a company that, if you've seen, you've seen the series on the start and life of Uber. Flywheel was one of the first apps to really came before Uber. There was Uber, there was Taxi Magic, and there was Flywheel in the market, trying to revolutionize kind of access to transportation. All starting here in San Francisco. And then Izzy now runs Flywheel, and it's really kind of creating a new hybrid of taxi. That's, these are licensed drivers with full-time commercial auto liability insurance that are operating licensed vehicles from the SFMTA here in San Francisco. And kind of merging a lot of different things into one. So we'll let him talk a little bit more.
Exciting. Right, well, let's flip over to Izzy.
All right, sounds good.
He's wearing the cap.
Flip off.
Flip off. Flip off. Flipping heck. Thank you, Will. Well, we say goodbye to Waymo, and now hello to Flywheel. We're off to the office to meet their CEO and their general manager. Hi, and welcome to Taxi Talk. We got some very exciting news. Hold on just a minute. Let's do that and they'll change it. We've got some very exciting news. Yes, we've got a brand new website, www.taxi-talk.co.uk. That's www.taxi-talk.co.uk. And on that website, you can see all the episodes plus some exclusive behind the scenes footage. Yeah, it's really exciting. Plus, you can contact us. So if you'd like to be a guest on this humble little podcast, then go to the website www.taxi-talk.co.uk and get in touch. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to Taxi Talk. I'm delighted to be here in San Francisco with the amazing Izzy. Hello, Izzy.
Hello.
And Dave. Yeah. So obviously we've come here at the request of drivers to test out this Waymo driverless technology. Much fear about they're going to take over the world and take over their jobs. It's been exaggerated in our trade press, and even though they don't start testing in London until next year. So it's going to be a long period of tests. But I think what a lot of drivers are worried about is they'll come along and replace all their work, and they'll be out of jobs, another casualty of AI in this new world we live in by the end of next year. So we're coming here to prove that's not the case, show them the technology. And we're here today with Flywheel, who are one of San Francisco's largest operators, you'd agree? Yeah. Obviously in the marketplace they have Uber and Lyft. So here, really very much, gentlemen, thanks for the invitation and your hospitality. It's been great to come here. But just really wanted to find a quick history of Flywheel and how the technology has changed things today. So I don't know where you want to start, Dave. Do you want to start with the history as you know it?
I can start. So since I was there from the very beginning,
Yeah.
Flywheel was a brainchild of an IBM guy that wanted to put taxis on the map, and so he created this really strong technology that put taxis on the map. That was Cabulous. Later, then turned into Flywheel, and then the next version was, why can't we do what Uber did, but in a taxi? So everything on a phone. So Flywheel was the first one to create a soft meter, a taxi smart meter on a phone, GPS based, OBD, but we were the first ones, and we've been working on getting it all certified throughout the country. So with that came an evolution of the taxi market. We came in and purchased Flywheel in 2017 and took it to like another level by combining all our software to it. So that's kind of the origin story, why we're involved.
And so it's great to hear a firm, so you've taken the existing legacy firm and wrapped it around in all this technology that the consumer and driver now expects, and sort of kept it afloat. So, I mean, the sort of work you're doing now, obviously you've got Uber and Lyft in the marketplace, which you may not have had 20, 15 years ago. Has that changed the sort of work you're doing? Is there less street-to-street jobs? Is it more contract work you're doing, business to business? What sort of percentage of work are you doing?
Yeah, so in San Francisco, it probably operates a little different than other cities. Mm-hmm. So there's still a large volume of rides that come out of the airport. So those people, the people that are allowed to pick up from the airport, still have that business. It has decreased since Uber and Lyft, but there's still enough business that those people can typically just operate out of the airport and not have to pick up the other rides. Luckily for our drivers, after the pandemic, we partnered with Uber. So for the last 3 years, we've been offering like third-party trips through our platform.
Oh, right. So the customer can book on Uber and get your taxi service.
Correct.
So is that listed like UberX or?
It's not. So the passenger actually never knows if they're going to get a taxi or if they're just going to get a regular UberX until the car arrives. Now there is, like Uber's told us that there is the capability in the app where the passenger can say that they don't want to get taxis, but overwhelmingly passengers love taking a taxi in San Francisco. So the city incentivizes, they consider it a part of public transportation. So they have taxi only lanes. Taxis can make left turns when other cars can't. They can make.
So you wouldn't get that in a regular Uber. You'd have to be sat in the traffic jam. Whereas if you're in the taxi, you can shoot down what we call a bus lane or taxi lane.
Exact same thing, red carpet lane, because they paint them red here.
Yeah.
So in the last 3 years, what we've seen is that drivers in every market are very intelligent about maximizing profitability. So what they use is Uber as a way to supplement their income. So they know, like, in San Francisco, there's a lot of cab rides between 7 and 9 a.m. or 10 a.m. People are going to work, people are going to the hospital, and then after that, they can use Uber to supplement their income.
Wow. So in the UK, Uber tried to go into the local market and work with the taxi companies. It was only through one dispatch system, and that was AutoCab. AutoCab had been acquired by Uber, so there was much skepticism amongst the operators. They've got AutoCab, which has all our data, and that Uber are going to take us over and open up in our town. There's much scaremongering. But for those like myself, that we had a couple of fleets on it, it was great because we managed to get more drivers moving across to our fleet. We took work, not a lot, because our apps are quite busy anyway, but we did, at certain times do quite well out of Uber. I think one town, Stoke, in the middle of England, that was doing 4,000 jobs a week from it. So, but awesome, they just pulled out.
Oh, wow.
It gave us like 4 weeks notice, and suddenly those companies that had it were like in bookings. It took a while to get it back. But it's a shame because, and I think, I'm not quite sure why Uber pulled out the UK market. We'll have to ask him, but it could have been the rejection from the trade or the perceived rejection.
Well, we had that initially when we started the partnership in San Francisco. So I remember in early days, like first month, where Uber, literally their requirement was like, please have your drivers take 50 jobs a week. And it was almost impossible because, as you can imagine, there was a lot of leftover animosity from the cab drivers towards Uber.
Yeah.
And it took a lot of education to say...
Same thing, because they say, well, they've taken money out of my pocket and now they want us to work with them. But,
totally. Yeah. But ultimately, it was like messaging saying, hey, The Uber passenger is not Uber. They're just a person trying to go from A to B, just like any other person.
Yeah, they're your passenger once you get them.
Exactly. And it's a good way to show people the younger demographic who probably have never taken a taxi that, oh, it's actually safe to take a taxi. They're not going to rob me. They're not going to do whatever. So we've seen a shift.
Yeah, because the drivers are more accountable, aren't they? They've got the Medallion, which is eye-watering amount of money. Believe me, it's
$250,000.
I think one of the misconceptions of Uber trying to get your data and maybe take your drivers away, it's the opposite.
Exactly.
What's happening. There are Uber and Lyft rideshare drivers turning into taxi drivers.
Yeah. Because there's a benefit to that, isn't there? We've spoke about it. So when a driver, he might be earning that amount with Uber, but when he comes over and does it, gets his vehicle license and himself licensed, his earnings then go like that, don't they?
They go higher.
Because he's got the
Plus
best
they could take
of
other
all
trips.
worlds.
They could take flywheel trips.
And they don't have to bring their own vehicle to drive a taxi. So they can just show up at being an Uber driver and say they want to lease a cab. And then so all of that wear and tear, all of the maintenance on their own car is then offloaded to the cab company. Now, of course, they have to pay to lease the car, but their earnings are significantly more than they earn as a regular Uber driver.
So it's
Right. So if you're an Uber driver and you have a car, there's going to be a bill to pay when you.
So it sounds so Uber don't really care about losing drivers to you because it's the work they're interested
The work
in.
is still being serviced.
So I was going to ask you about competition here, but you're working with the competition.
Yeah.
So the point was, I started this interview off by saying drivers were fearful of losing work to driverless cars, but I think you're a shining example that's not the case because you're growing by the sounds of it with the Uber work. And
Well, just as an example, in the San Francisco market, in San Francisco, you have to have a medallion to operate a car. And 2 years ago, we had a stack of medallions in the desk, just waiting because we didn't have sufficient drivers. Now we have no medallions and a driver waiting.
so they've gone to Uber thinking the grass is greener, or starting off their job life in Uber and then thinking, well, I want to do this professionally rather than part-time, and then they come to the companies like you. Yeah. So Uber's not really a competition. Has Waymo affected anything in terms of it within the centre of, around Fisherman's Wharf and the centre of San Francisco?
So, we've spoken to Waymo. They're actually required to take wheelchair rides. And so we were asked by the SFMTA, the governing body here, to work with Waymo and say, how are you going to deal with, you're a transportation company, how are you going to deal with wheelchair? And that's a very strong question. You're going to face that everywhere, right? And you're not going to see an autonomous vehicle take a wheelchair, not for a long, long time. We don't have robots driving, right? So that's a real downfall of theirs, but we got to understand and do a peekaboo and understand their model. They want to work with fleets. They're not going to try to capitalize their entire world of all these Waymo vehicles. They don't want to own it. They want to bear the cost to fleets. So once they've alerted to us their model, we have a really strong potential partnership
With them.
all taxi companies.
Yeah.
With them.
Well, that's it. I think in the UK we're starting to realise that it's all been about being part of a network and networks upon networks. You don't care which part of the spider's web the work comes in.
In a
as
fleet
long as it
of
comes
tomorrow, you will have a section of autonomous vehicles. They will be there, right? But then you'll have probably a larger part of it where you're going to have human in the loop, we call it in the AI world, where it's going to be super important for them to take these much more complicated rides.
Probably more lucrative.
Probably lucrative. Add an extra value of hospitality, right? So you may want to you want someone to open the door for you and take your luggage, right? So there's going to be that forever, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
So where do you see within Flywheel the future of driverless cars? Are you going to start onboarding driverless cars once they become available to you? And
I think you have to. In order to be AV, you got to be EV, right? In order to be autonomous vehicle, you have to be electric vehicles. So we have electric vehicles here because there is no hybrid or combustial engine AV. So fleets should start thinking about having the EV mix because once you have that, then you could do AV. You can't just jump to AV without going through EV.
Yeah, you've got to go get used to EV and controlling that thing and making sure they're charged. Because with Waymo, I mean, it's such a complex operation when you think about it. All these cars, 400 cars going around this very small area down a grid street. You think, who's controlling that? What happens if one of those breaks down or somebody leaves the door open and it's stuck? And we've literally seen them drop off in the third lane in the middle of the road until the passenger gets blocking all the traffic. So it's a huge operation that obviously Google and everyone else have invested billions possibly into it. So we've got to replicate that. So do you think the technology will be quite a while before we can replicate?
Oh yeah, it's through our estimation, it's going to be many, many years. Like we had a banana peel inside our car in the Waymo. Like who's going to pick that up? We had a lost and found. We had an AirPods, not AirPods, like a wired hair. Who's going to do and report that?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They're just like maintenance. Who's going to watch the car? Who's going to do this?
But,
that's where I see fleets come in. Fleets.
Yeah, I think there's a novelty journey with Waymo. Yeah. I've quite enjoyed riding them, but then you miss the banter of the driver. You miss, his speed. And he's quicker to react and quicker to get over zebra crossings and that.
And then you don't get dropped off where you want to be dropped off.
Yeah.
They're just going to go where it's safest for them, and then you got to walk another. Whether 2 blocks.
So I think he's possibly going to be eating into more of the Uber market than your market.
Well, yeah. So like the data in San Francisco shows that like the Uber market share for rides has gone down 10% in the last year, while Waymo's has gone 10% up.
Yeah.
And what we've seen is that we've onboarded more drivers in the last year, put out more cars in the last year, and drivers' earnings have gone up significantly in the last year. So if Waymo were impacting taxis, none of that would be true.
Yeah, it's Uber. So Uber must be racing to get their own driverless cars and vehicles out. But sometimes you've got to be the first to get that brand recognition for it, haven't you? So really, people say, we'll get an Uber. Are people now going to be saying, I'll get a Waymo instead of the word Uber? Because Uber perceived of late to the game.
That's right.
Yeah.
Interesting time. So that's the future. What do you think the downsides are of driverless cars?
So from like a driver perspective or from a fleet perspective, it's just
from both.
Yeah, so it's like congestion in the city. When we have baseball games or any kind of sporting event or musical event, they don't know.
They're just clogging up. They're dropping off here,
3 in a row, and then the police come. So like if our cab driver was parked out in front of the ballpark blocking traffic, they're getting a ticket or they're getting towed or something. And the police are there's videos of police just looking at the Waymo like, what do we do?
Boy, because there's no driver that can prosecute.
Yeah, and from a public safety standpoint, like if our driver kills someone and they're held reliant, like if they're responsible for that death, they're going to be convicted. I know from like a public perspective standpoint, if an autonomous vehicle kills someone, simply getting a financial reward isn't going to feel like justice was served.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, got you. So that's one of the downsides. Where in your business where do you see the growth coming over the next 5-10 years?
So I think we all have to address AVs as an industry. Mm-hmm. I think you got to look at it and make it really part of your business plan, because
they're here.
I can't give you real numbers. I got real numbers from Waymo because they're licensing the driver. They call their driver the most experienced, millions of miles driven. They're a Waymo driver.
Oh, that's what they say?
That's what they say. That's their tagline. And they're going to license that to fleets. They're going to take a much less take rate than you would do paying a driver. So from a fleet standpoint, it's like, wait, I got to pay my driver 80-something% of the fare if you do a kind of our model. When Uber takes 30%, right? But roughly around that. But Waymo will take less of a cut than the fleet. In theory, can make a lot more money by just like getting the vehicle, servicing the vehicle, and let it do the job. So from a business model, it could be very attractive. You do have to pay a higher amount of money for this car. Mm-hmm. If you see the 6th generation, I was telling you, Geely's, they're roughly $50,000 to make, maybe another $30,000 to outfit. So $80,000 sunk cost, but you're making a lot more servicing. It becomes compelling.
Yeah.
So you definitely don't want to close your eyes to it.
Yeah, it's definitely opportunity.
But you want to see how that all works. But again, a lot of things have to come in place. Like more than likely, when you have an event, you're not sending autonomous drivers there. You're maybe
you're sending drivers who can use the brain.
Yeah,
totally.
Because guess what? We're more than just an algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
I think algorithm's great, AI is great, but you still need that human wisdom, and quick thinking to a solution for the solution.
Yeah, and I think they have a place in the industry, but I don't think they're going to dominate the market for a long time to come.
A long time.
Yeah. And autonomous vehicles have been in San Francisco for a long time, and
you never know. There might be a model where drivers can buy a vehicle, a Model Y or something, or whatever. Yeah. When Robo-Taxi comes, and just go, you know what? I'm going to stay at home. I bought my vehicle. Off it goes to work. But as a member of the public could do as well.
Yeah.
So, it might clear the streets of parked cars, but I think drivers are pretty safe for the foreseeable
we'll
future.
see.
I think so too.
I think we're all safe
But I
for the
think,
foreseeable
I think
future.
what we'll see no joking around, I think we'll see flying cars before that all happens. The
Oh, I
VTOLs.
hope so.
I think we'll see that.
Oh,
And
that's
then
been long
That's
expected.
another a fun conversation.
Yeah.
Should fleets have flying cars? I think that's a fun conversation.
Yeah, no, I think
Manage
that'd be
those.
great.
But
Would you get into a flying little cab then?
I haven't been in
I
a
would do it all
Waymo.
day.
No. You've not been in a Waymo?
No.
Oh, a flying car, I thought you said.
Well, let's get him in the
Much
Waymo
less.
first, then we'll move to flying cars.
I know.
No.
Yeah. What, Could I just ask why you've not tried it? Or
No, I mean, I work for I work at a taxi fleet, so if I need a car, I just hop in a taxi.
Yeah.
And then anywhere that I travel, I just use taxis.
yeah.
Pretty loyal.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, well, it's always good to see what the opposition's up to. But I have to say, if I'm going to an airport, I'd rather have a driver with me than talking to an algorithm.
Yeah, and so I've taken, you just got to see what the tech is all about. It's magical to me. I'll be honest with you. You're like, how does this work? I have the sense that there's someone in the sky watching.
Well, I'm the same. I still don't know how television works. So everything
Right.
makes me
So
look like a
technology is
public.
magic, and to have him traverse those crazy streets of San Francisco, it is pretty astonishing. But in a mass appeal to disrupt, years away.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for your hospitality.
Thank you.
It's been great to meet you and learn about your market.
Yep.
And you're very much welcome to come over to the UK and share a Guinness with me or a pint anytime and can see how we do things in the UK.
Yeah,
But
no, we're
good.
looking forward.
I think you've got it well wrapped up here anyway. It gives us hope anyway that our industry, our beloved industry in the UK can face its next challenge and actually end up working with them. Like you've done as well with Uber. So
Thank you for
very much.
inviting us.
Nobody pays you cash.
I still love cash.
You have to pay it like a parking ticket. If you don't pay it,
No, London's really expensive.
so they demolished that stadium about 5 years ago. I started driving back in 1988.
You bought yellow cabs out of administration in 2016 and you went from 150 cars to about 450 overnight by buying this iconic brand.
When I first came into the business, I realized that tech was missing, having the right system to manage. Uber started with limousines in late 2010, 2011. That rate of growth attracted more and more money.
How did that affect the driver's earnings? Regular people putting their cars onto the Uber network, that must have hit the taxi driver's pocket quite hard.